Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Friday Ramblings. I'm here to ramble, and we got a special treat for you because we're going to discuss a little reality. Now, I know this is supposed to be all about entertainment, but bear with me because this is reality that has inspired entertainment. Yep, this is going to be a lovely little two-parter for us. First, we're going to discuss the reality, and then in part two, we'll discuss the various entertainment that the reality inspired. So, what was so cool that it inspired multiple movies and basically became pop culture iconic? The Cannonball Baker Shining Sea Memorial Trophy Dash, often referred to simply as the Cannonball Baker or Cannonball Run. It is an unofficial, unsanctioned automobile race and was officially run 5 times in the 1970s, from New York City on the East Coast to the Portofino Inn in the Los Angeles suburb of Redondo Beach, California on the West Coast. The Cannonball Run races have additionally inspired numerous contemporary efforts by independent teams to set the record for the route known as the Cannonball Run Challenge. However, we are going to focus on the official Cannonball Baker Trophy Dashes and how it came about. Conceived by Car Magazine writer and auto racer Brock Yates and fellow Car and Driver editor Steve Smith, the first run was not a competitive race as only one team was running. The run was intended both as a celebration of the United States interstate highway system and as a protest against strict traffic laws coming into effect at the time. Another motivation was simply to have fun on a massive road trip, as the discussion of performing the run inspired multiple tongue-in-cheek humorous reports in the Car and Driver magazine, which was picked up by other auto publications worldwide. The initial cross-country run was made by Yates, his son Brock Yates Jr., Steve Smith, and friend Jim Williams, beginning on May 3rd, 1971, in a 71 Dodge Custom, helps when I say one word at a time, sportsman van called the Moon Trash 2. The race was officially run 4 more times in November of 71 and 72 and April of 75 and 79. Car and Driver magazine detailed the 1971 run in its March 72 issue, and the article was reprinted to represent the 1970s on the magazine's 50th anniversary in 2005. A remarkable effort was made by American racing legend Dan Gurney, winner of the 1967 24 Hours of Le Mans, which is an endurance-focused sports car race held near the town of Le Mans, France. He won the second Cannonball in a Sunoco Blue Ferrari 365 GTB4 Daytona. Gurney quoted that at no time did we exceed 175 miles per hour. And him and his team collected 1 fine during the race, claiming they would have gotten it done faster, but snow in the Rocky Mountains slowed them down considerably. In 72, the team of Steve Yogi Bear, Bill Canfield, and Fred Olds won in a Cadillac Coupe de Ville, the first American car to win a Cannonball. On April 23rd to 25th, 1975, Jack May and Rick Klein drove a Dyno 246 GTS to set a new record time of 35 hours, 53 minutes, averaging 83 miles per hour. The record for official cannonballs is 32 hours and 51 minutes, set in the final run by Dave Hines and Dave Yarborough in a Jaguar XJS in April of 1979. After the original Cannonball races ended, Car and Driver did sponsor legitimate closed course tours called the One Lap of America. And any use of the term post-1979 in the United States, Europe, or in Australia have been used without Yates' approval and are considered outlaw runs and unofficial Cannonball runs. The nature of the race itself is inherently simple, but kind of complicated. The object was to leave the Red Ball Garage on East 31st Street in Manhattan, New York City. In 1979, it was Darien, Connecticut, at a now defunct Lock, Stock, and Barrel restaurant, typically after midnight, and drive to the Portofino Inn in Redondo Beach, California in the shortest time possible. Those were the only rules. Nothing was specified as to the route, type of vehicle, numbers of drivers or crew, or maximum speed permitted. There was a gentleman's agreement that the vehicle entered would be driven the entire distance, not transported on another vehicle, not abandoned for an identical second vehicle, and any speeding citations received along the way were the driver's responsibility and did not disqualify the vehicle, although stopping to receive a ticket would increase the vehicle's overall time. Essentially, the Cannonball Run was a race in that the team with the fastest time was declared the winner, and the results were announced in order of time. However, times were not taken very seriously, and sheer speed did not guarantee a first-place finish, because, of course, if you speed fast enough through the wrong area, you will flat out get your car impounded and you arrested, which will grant you a ranking of did not finish, or DNF for short. Again, these were about the fun of going on a massive road trip and trying to push your skills as a driver as well as a route planner, finding a highly efficient route and being able to maximize your speed when you could while still maintaining an acceptable overall average speed. Remember, if you go 90 miles an hour down the highway, but your route takes you through a bunch of cities where you're slowed down to 40, you do that often enough, mathematically, you're not going to do as well as somebody who, as we discussed earlier, maintains an average speed in the high 70s, low 80s, as in the long run, mathematically, that will be more speed. And of course, you have to make sure you do not wreck. Now, the Cannonball Run's initial year was not super famous. What gave it notoriety was the 1972 run. However, the 1975 race solidified its place in the public consciousness, and the tongue-in-cheek reports in Car and Driver magazine were warmly received by the press and the public alike, rather than, as many safety officials would have preferred, being condemned for the race's inherent recklessness. In his Cannonball memoir, Brock Yates reports that in 1972, an all-female team of Peggy Nemec, Judy Stropus, and SCCA, say that 20 times fast, racer Donna Mae Mims, aka the Pink Lady, suffered a crash near El Paso, Texas. Mims explained their Cadillac stretch limousine veered off the road and rolled over after the driver fell asleep at the wheel. Although the car was destroyed and she suffered a broken arm, no other vehicles were involved in the crash, and this is the only serious accident in any official Cannonball races. And as we said, there have been various knockoff events, and many people who have done the challenge simply to do the challenge, as it is, the Cannonball Run. The closest thing to an official successor was the U.S. Express. Rick Doherty, who had participated in the 75 and 79 races, organized the U.S. Express as a successor race after Yates decided not to run them anymore due to a concern of people focusing more on setting the record in speed and thus making the races both more risky and losing the fun heart of the original idea. The U.S. Express was run from 1980 to 1983 from Brooklyn, New York to the beach in Santa Monica. Doherty won the first U.S. Express with co-driver and famous game designer Will Wright at the wheel of a Mazda RX-7. In 1981, the U.S. Express was instead run from Long Island, New York to Emeryville, California, which borders Oakland at the east end of the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. Interstate 80 was largely used to run the race, and the winning team of David Morse and Steve Klausman drove a Porsche 928. The Porsche 928 was able to by being well equipped, avoid snow hazards that crippled other racers as they went over the mountains. The Mortal Klausman team competed again the next 2 years. However, they had to endure several memorable police stops, placing second in the final U.S. Express run. Although longer than Cannonball, the fastest time recorded for the U.S. Express was 32 hours and 7 minutes, this being set in the final race of 1983, 44 minutes faster than the fastest Cannonball, and was the official cross-country record until it was broken in 2006 by Alex Roy and David Marr in 31 hours 4 minutes. Excuse me. In the decades since the last official Cannonball in 1979, and especially the end of the U.S. Express, the only successor that could be seen as somewhat legitimate, due to Doherty being a veteran of the races, various times there have been revival possibilities raised by motorists. Yates recalled declining offers to revive the concept because it was unworkable due to increased police activity, increased legal liabilities for any organizer, increased year-round traffic, and expanding urban areas. Also warning of the danger of racing on public roads. A similar event was held in the early 2000s called the Gumball 3000. However, it, being an international event, has not always been held on U.S. coast-to-coast routes and has no overall time-based winner. Thus, it's all a thing. Of course, in modern times, we have, besides these people doing the Cannonball Run Challenge, just to see how fast they can make the route, whether it be part of any official race or official record settings or not, there has also been the rise of street racing, where people race on public streets for much shorter distances, usually staying within a single city, which has set up its own inherent dangers. Still, this is the Cannonball Run. And as I said, has inspired various fictional media, which we will get to in part 2. For now, though, I do want to simply make it very clear before we get into the fiction, because fiction is always going to be more entertaining than reality, that yes, various people to this day still do the Cannonball Run, going from coast to coast in a single car without any, major stops, as it is seen as the ultimate Americana road trip. But as far as it being an official race, something that is going to get major mainstream publicity and inspire generations of motorists, nothing's going to beat those original handful of runs organized by Brock Yates. Now, for the record, let's go ahead and just break down some of the various unofficial records associated with the Cannonball Run route in and of itself. As we said before, in 2006, Alex Roy, Dave Marr, and filmmaker Corey Wells set a transcontinental record of 31 hours and 4 minutes, going from the Classic Car Club in New York City to the Santa Monica Pier, using a modified BMW 2000 M5, averaging 90 miles per hour with a top speed of 157 miles per hour. This and the U.S. Express challenges are depicted in the 2019 documentary Apex: The Secret Race Across America. In 2007, Richard Rawlings and Dennis Collins allegedly broke the 79 Cannonball Run time, driving a black Ferrari F50. However, documentation is a little sketchy on that one. They claim a final time of 31 hours and 59 minutes. In October 2013, a team led by Ed Bolian with Dave Black and Dan Huang set a transcontinental record of 28 hours 50 minutes in a modified 2004 Mercedes-Benz CL55 AMG, averaging 98 miles per hour with a top speed of 182 miles per hour. This, again, is a pretty impressive record. Finally, in November 2019, the driving team of Arn Toman and Doug Tabut with spotter Berkeley Chadwick set a transcontinental record 27 hours 25 minutes. Team averaged 103 miles per hour and reached top speed of 193 miles per hour on the trip covering 13 states. They drove a 2015 Mercedes-Benz E63 AMG modified to provide 800 horsepower and fitted with an additional fuel cell in the trunk, providing 67 U.S. gallons, enabling the team to stop just 4 times for fuel for a total of just over 22 minutes. The car is also equipped with police scanners, CB radio, a thermal camera to help the team spot police on the ground, as well as a laser jammer. The team left early November ahead of Thanksgiving travel traffic and chose a route based on weather forecasts, which provided dry weather throughout the entire trip. The original 79 records were broken multiple times during the COVID-19 pandemic, taking advantage of a reduction in both road uses and law enforcement presence. However, some of these records have been cast into doubt due to lack of proper documentation. Here's where we also have a little more fun, as the double transcontinental record, basically making a complete circular route, was set in May 2022 in a highly modified Mercedes SL500, going from the classic starting point of the Red Bull Garage to the Portofino Inn, then turning around and going back to the Red Bull Garage in 74 hours and 5 minutes. This record was later broken in 2022, settling the record at 65 hours and 28 minutes. The team used a modified 2008 Saab 9.5. In April 4th, 2020, a 3-man team set a diesel record, traveling the classic route used in 79 from Darien, Connecticut to the Portofino Hotel in 28 hours and 30 minutes, beating both the previous diesel record and the official route record by a time of more than 3 hours. Various people have used the route on motorcycles, including the original race's namesake, Erwin Cannonball Baker, who managed a route from LA to New York City, basically the inverse of the original route, in 6 days, 22 hours, 52 minutes in 1922. There is a current benchmark of 32 hours and 52 minutes set by Alex Jones in a 2014 Yamaha FJR 1300. The bike was equipped with a 7-gallon auxiliary fuel tank. So, again, they are modifying vehicles. Various people in recent years have set electric car records. Most recently, let's see. The current EV record is in a 2021 Tesla Model S long range and ranks at 42 hours and 17 minutes. So, there's your breakdown. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of reality. And don't worry, because while reality may be stranger than fiction, fiction is much more prevalent. No matter how many people race, when it comes to what your average person knows, nothing beats film, and we got a whole pile of film, and maybe even a couple not film, including a infamous video game from a franchise of video games that have taken inspiration from the real-life Cannonball Baker Trophy Dash. So I hope you tune in next time as we discuss Vroom Vrooms Vroom, coming at you from Hollywood, as we'll break down the various Cannonball Run films. It's going to be fun, so come on back. And in the meantime and in between time, feel free to watch anything in our archives, the other videos that we'll be premiering before part 2 of this one, and when it's all said and done, anything else that gives you joy, because we here at Roulette Productions always say, hey, life's hard enough, enjoy your entertainment. Bye-bye, folks.